Jim has always enjoyed running, especially in his youth. While working at a respiratory health hospital, he, along with one of his friends, decided to run 130 miles over 5 days to raise money for the patients at his hospital. They ran from Braintree to Provincetown, and they managed to raise enough money to get TVs in the patients' rooms. He also ran the Boston Marathon and continues to run 5Ks today. His physical health is still good. Jim and his wife Minda go on lengthy walks every day together. He takes pride in the fact that when he plays hockey with his friends, he is in better shape than they are. Jim believes that staying healthy is extremely important. The picture of Jim running with his son shows how Jim is and has always been in shape. Jim takes pride in learning new things, both through his career and from his patients. In college, he did not have to study very hard to do well, and considers himself very lucky that the information easily made sense to him. He used to sit in the back of the classroom and read a newspaper every day during class, so his professor refused to believe that he was actually enrolled in the class come test-taking time. He really loves to learn new information and likes reading about recent studies. Although he excels in his knowledge of physical therapy, he has always had problems remembering people's names, and can never remember directions, like how to get to UMass. However, he claims that his cognitive ability is still pretty good. We chose the picture of the smiling brain because Jim still has great cognitive ability. He has always thrived and shows that he still does so every day. Jim considers himself someone who does not usually stress. He likes to wing it, and as he says, and believes that life will work itself out. On the rare occasion that Jim does get stressed at work due to crazy patients, Jim tells his daughter that someone let his unicorns out of the pen, or the bad people won. Jim's dogs help alleviate any stress that he may have. The dogs are not stressful for Jim because his wife, Minda, takes care of feeding and cleaning up after them. The dogs are a great way for Jim to relax when he gets home from a 14-hour workday. Now that his children are older, they are a lot less stressful, but having to figure out how to pay for the entirety of 2 college educations can be stressful at times. However, he knows it is worth it. We included a picture of Jim's dogs because they are his way to distress, and they represent his generally carefree attitude.
Jim's career is exceptionally important to him. He currently has 3 physical therapy offices and loves going to work every day. He is very satisfied with his career choice and absolutely loves having patients to spend his days with. Currently, Jim has a doctorate in physical therapy, is a specialist in orthopedics, has a certificate in manual therapy, and recently was certified in dry needling. His specialty areas are manual therapy, chronic pain and fibromyalgia, neck and back pain, and vestibular therapy. Learning from his patients is a favorite pastime of his, and he loves to come home with fun facts that he has learned throughout the day. He takes great pride in furthering his career and has made it his personal mission to help learn more about physical therapy. Jim knew he always wanted to help people and genuinely loves people. He started off working in home health care and with sick children, but it was hard for Jim. So he chose to work on the orthopedic side of physical therapy and absolutely adores it. He also prides himself on being the best boss ever. We chose this picture because it is the new name of his company, Connections Physical Therapy. Jim loves learning about different cultures and religions. Recently, he has been very interested in and connected to the Tao, a doctrine from Chinese culture, which is why we chose a picture of a yin-yang symbol. He loves to bring up proverbs from the book, which help him live in his life in harmony. Jim loves being Irish and has found a new love for Irish caps. He recently found out his ancestors are also English and are from the same town that the show Downton Abbey takes place in, and he really loves knowing that. Jim always knew he would get married and have kids because he loves the idea of love and enjoys children. He adores his family and his favorite dog because only one dog comes to greet him at the door every day. His daughter Jacqueline is more like him than his son, which Minda likes to point out because they are too optimistic for the rest of the family. He loves to help his daughter study anatomy and help his son learn more about computers. He also really likes being the family's personal physical therapist, even though his wife is one too. This picture is from a vacation to the Isle of Palm, South Carolina, where Jim hopes to visit frequently when he is retired. Jim overcame his fear of speaking to girls in high school and soon flourished. Attending prom was his favorite activity, and he attended 8 and is sad he missed one of his own. He always hoped his daughter would exceed his number, but is secretly happy she did not. Jim is a hopeless romantic who physically cannot leave a store or the supermarket without buying Minda flowers. This picture is from their trip to Florida last month to celebrate their 25th anniversary. Jim and Minda, when they were 20 years old when they first started dating during their clinical rotations. Jim claims he was too irresistible and Minda had to fall for him, even though the beginning of their courtship had a few mishaps. On their first date, Jim got lost and was an hour late to pick Minda up. On their second date, they got mugged in Boston. To this day, Jim isn't sure why Minda decided to stay with him.
Jim grew up in Revere, Massachusetts, which was not the most respectable or safe place to live. A majority of his childhood friends are currently in prison, but Jim loves to tell stories of the crazy things his childhood friends did while they were growing up. His favorite story to tell is when his friends broke into someone's home in order to house live horses there. In his adult life, he and his friends play hockey every week, go skiing, and have charity poker nights. He loves to hang out with family and friends, and sneaks out of the office early on Fridays in order to go skiing with his friends. This picture of Jim and his friends shows how happy he is when he is able to spend time with them. Jim really likes to hike and kayak with Minda, even though sometimes the kayaks fall off the car. He loves outdoor activities like camping, skiing, hiking, and walking the dogs. He also likes to read about different academic studies so that he can relay the information to the family. He also loves to read on his Kindle. We chose this picture because it shows Jim doing one of his favorite outdoor activities, kayaking. Jim is excited about the future and has a lot of different plans. Some of these include moving with Minda to a lake house, watching both of his children graduate college, and possibly working as a college clinical instructor. Jim is very excited to turn 65 so that he is a senior citizen and can take college classes for free. He is much better at saving money than Minda. He has saved enough money so that he can successfully put both his children through college and they can graduate debt-free, which he is very proud of. He's accepted he will probably have Alzheimer's because his mother does, and he loves to discuss how his daughter can send him off to any assisted living home as long as there are fun games to play. When he does retire, he plans on learning about all different topics. He's very excited to see where his children end up in life and has already chosen the song he wants to dance to with his daughter at her wedding. In regards to when he gets older, he would like a pre-funeral party if he starts getting sick. This party has been described in exceptional detail and includes, but is not limited to, a fog machine, a kilt-wearing musician, tiny sodas, and mini sandwiches instead of flowers. Overall, he is very excited to see what happens in the future. This picture shows how Jim feels about the future. It is too bright for him to see it clearly. Jim doesn't think he has had a midlife crisis and doesn't think he will because he is very content with his life. His most recent transition was having to deal with his daughter leaving for college, which was very hard on him. This picture shows her first day of school, which was very emotional for both of them. After Jacqueline left for college, he put up more pictures of her around his office, sends her fun facts, and tells her his favorite parts of each anatomy topic she learns.
Jim's favorite life events. 1. Marriage. Jim says that getting married was one of the most exciting days of his life. Writing his vows was very easy for him, as he is a self-proclaimed romantic. This is a picture of Jim and Minda at their wedding. 2. Kids being born. These babies represent the births of his 2 children, which were pivotal points in Jim's life, giving him a family to take care of. He loved playing with children's toys, which made playing with the kids a lot of fun for him. 3. Graduating with degrees. This picture represents all of Jim's academic accomplishments. Jim says he is very fortunate to love school and learning, which is what made school so fun for him. The biggest reason Jim decided to get his doctorate was so that he could provide for his family by being a college professor if something ever happened and he could no longer work as a physical therapist. Getting his doctorate allowed him to open his own practice, work as an expert witness in court, and teach other students. 4. Opening own practice. This is Jim's work photo. Jim told us he is very fortunate that his offices have done so well, therefore allowing him to work how he wants to. Being his own boss has allowed him to make his own schedule, which he really appreciates. He likes to start seeing patients at 5:30 a.m., so that his patients can come in before work instead of missing out on their kids' activities after work. He enjoys being able to make his offices a great place of employment. 5. Running the Boston Marathon. This is a picture of the Boston Marathon logo. Growing up in Revere, Jim had always dreamed about running the Boston Marathon. While in his 30s, Jim finally made that dream a reality. He considered this one of his 7 life events because he had to overcome obstacles that were both physical and mental. Running a marathon in itself is a great feat, let alone running one of the most famous marathons in the world. 6. Scuba diving with sharks. We chose a picture of Jim's favorite animal, a shark. Ever since he discovered his love of sharks, Jim has wanted to swim with them. However, Mindo was very against it because sharks are very dangerous creatures. When he finally decided to live his dream, he was very excited. In order to get to the cage that would protect him from the sharks, Jim had to swim through shark-infested waters. However, he was able to swim to the cage safely and enjoyed his time with his favorite animal, crossing it off of his bucket list. 7. Parachuting and hang gliding. Jim could not decide whether he wanted to put parachuting or hang gliding on his bucket list, so he decided to do both. This picture represents his parasailing experience. He is a thrill seeker and really loves the adrenaline rush. Jim parachuted in Northampton for one of his jumps while Minda was pregnant with their second child, which made her nervous. Most things on his bucket list have been completed except bungee jumping and running with the bulls in Spain, which he hopes to accomplish. Life advice. Jim had a very difficult time picking just one piece of advice, but decided on, never be motivated by money because you'll never have enough. Don't chase the almighty dollar.